Everyone. Good evening across Africa. It's wonderful to see you. It's really been a wonderful time being with us this evening, and we promise to have a very fruitful conversation.
You're frozen.
And we have a very distinguished guest tonight, all the way from the beautiful country of Liberia. Yes. And please, viewers, just kindly bear with us. It's part of what we experience in this part of the world. And by now, it shouldn't be much of a new thing to you, right? Of course not. Okay, so we have Honourable Wilmot Reeves with us. Can you, please, sir, can you indicate if you can hear me? The connection was lost, but I think it's
Yes, I can hear you, but I keep experiencing intermittent break in from your side. I don't know whether you can hear me very clearly. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
all right. Welcome back, sir. And first, we apologize for that brief internet. Okay, it's like the internet issue kicked you out from the studio briefly. This is exactly what we keep experiencing.
Okay.
All right, sir. So please, can you hear me? Can you indicate if you can hear me, please? Because all I keep
I
seeing
can
is
I
can you
can
indicate,
hear you.
sir?
I can hear you.
All right. So
Um,
all right, sir.
so I'm I'm trying to join from
Okay.
my phone. You see. I'm trying to jump from my phone and see whether that works very well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I can hear you very well.
Okay,
I can hear
wonderful. I think the phone, let me just utilize my phone and pray that nobody calls me on it. Yeah, that
you.
could be
Yeah,
a
I'm afraid
challenge.
so.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay, so I was telling wonderful viewers across Africa and the Black community of the special guest we have tonight. I
great.
think by now they should be used to this. It's one of the things we're battling in Africa, and we are not ashamed of it because we know that someday we'll get there. We have to
I
crawl before
know.
we walk, and we'll
Certainly,
run.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
Exactly, sir. Thank you for agreeing with me. All right, so dear viewers, like I said earlier, tonight we are hosting a distinguished guest in the person of Honorable Wilmot Reeves. He is the Deputy Minister of Liberia. In case you don't know, Liberia is a very beautiful country in West Africa. West Africa, there's so many things, so many wonderful things that you need to see. So if you've not traveled down to any country in West Africa, let's use this opportunity to invite you. But well, we will go to the business of the night. You're welcome, sir. It is really an honor to have you tonight. So,
Let me see. Thank you so much.
that's in his country, and it's learn from him tonight. He has a lot to share with us. So, to our viewers, when it's time for you to ask questions, don't worry, we're going to give the opportunity. Or you can go ahead and drop your questions in the chat box and we'll attend to it. That one is for sure. All right. So, entrepreneurial spirits. It's so high. Everyone knows Africans are really, really
I've lost you for a moment.
Mr. Reeves here, who is the Minister for Commerce and Trade in his country. So he's going to do a lot of justice tonight. Maybe we can borrow a leaf from how they've taken Liberia so far. Currently, maybe before I go further to ask questions, based on some of the very wonderful initiatives set by him that have made Liberia an envy of Africa, I would like to first of all ask one question, sir, out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Sir, please,
Hello.
Africa at last system, and happen to one country in Africa also affects the rest of us. So please, would you mind telling us the biggest gap?
You're broken in again. The network, you've kind of broken in. Hello. 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 Can you hear me? I've lost you. Hello. Hello. I've lost you. Hello. 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 I have lost you. Hello. Hello.
All right, I'm back. I'm back, sir. I'm back, viewer.
Hello. I lost you for a moment. I could not get you. Just couldn't get you at all. Are you back on? Hello? Hello? Wow, I lost her. Hello?
Can you hear me, sir? Hello?
Yes, I keep losing you.
Please, this is part of what we experience. This is a part of
Oh, you're gone
send
again.
with you. Sir, your microphone is muted.
Hello? No, I'm
Okay, I'm
on,
back, sir.
actually. Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah. Can you
Your
hear me?
microphone is muted, sir.
No, it's not. Hello? Can you
My
hear
God.
me?
The
Okay.
internet has really. Yes, I can hear. I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. I'm
I
trying
can
to
hear
see.
you. I can hear
Yeah,
you, sir.
I'm trying to switch
Can you
to
hear me?
another. Yes, I can hear you.
The
I can
internet is
hear
trying to
you.
reconnect. Oh Lord. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay.
Okay. All right, sir. I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Internet issue is something else. All right. Okay, the
Hello?
internet keeps it keeps reconnecting.
Eh,
Holy Father. What is this? Nigerian network. Mm,
Hello, can you hear me?
the internet issue really has been something a little above terrible. But we are not deterred. We are not deterred at all. We are not. We are not deterred. Video so that easy from I do will be
Yeah.
ongoing with or without the still be the best we can make out of it. All right, finally they've let me back. I'm back now. I'm sorry, can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can
Yes,
you
it
hear
has
me?
really been. I can hear you, sir. Please, apologies for the brief interruption, the network terrorism. This is what we always experience here, and at least I'm glad I warned our viewers. They should just bear. They should just bear with us. Sometimes it's like this, uh, but it's okay. All right, sir. So please.
Yes, I'm all set. I'm ready
All
if you
right. All
are.
right. I'm ready. I'm going ready, sir. I'm ready, of course.
Great.
I was, but before yanked out of,
Mm.
like before we go into some of the development carried out by you in your country that made Liberia angry of all eyes right now, I want to first of all find out from you on behalf of other Africans, of course. I want to find out from you what is the biggest gap in Africa's entrepreneurial ecosystem. You can use Liberia as a case study. All learn from your response. And apart from telling us the biggest entrepreneurial gap, how can it be addressed? We want to learn that from you first, sir.
Well, let me say thank you very much for the opportunity to be talking to you today. Um, and I really, the reason why I consider this as a very great opportunity is basically we will get to understand some of the reforms that we are undertaking in the entrepreneurial ecosystem of our country, and which basically can be replicated into other African countries and the world at large. What I see as one of the biggest gaps in the entrepreneurial ecosystem of Africa is the fact that we've really not been able to match very well um, the whole demand of our education system with what is required in our labor market. I think many a times you hear people talk about the issue of skills mismatch as being one of the challenges facing Africa. We have in Africa very young, very determined, young with a huge potential for the demographic dividend to be basically explored and exploited. But again, we do not have the level of aggressiveness that is required for many of these young people to take over the entrepreneurial ecosystem of their countries. So you have a situation. It's not a bad thing for you to have foreign nationals playing a critical role in an economy, but the citizens of those of Africa must also be equally prepared to also actively participate in that ecosystem. And I give my country as a case in point, where we have a situation where a lot of the very few Liberians are aggressively, actively participating in the economy. But you have an economy that is largely controlled by foreign nationals. So it's not like you want to basically discriminate. But the point is, your citizens must equally be prepared to actively participate in the economy of the country. If they are basically being placed at the back bench, and then you have foreign nationals controlling the economy, then it creates a situation where there's a potential for you, basically, where you have a lot of capital being moved away from the local economy to offshore accounts and not being brought into the economy to build the industries that are required to be built to create our jobs. So I think that's one of the gaps.
And then you have a very, like I said, a very young society that do not have the relevant skills to be able to occupy the space in terms of what? Undertaking enterprises that will basically gainfully create jobs for their kind. So how then do we um, correct the problems? To correct such a problem, it means that the education system has to be able to be fit for purpose to meet the job, the labor demand, the labor supply side. Because here you have um, an education system that is unable to produce the kind of skills that are required by the job market. So you have this skill mismatch. And then there's also the capacity constraint when it comes to managing a business. Because a lot of the like in my country, we have a situation where we have certain businesses have been reserved purposely for Liberians. But again, do they have the capital? Do they have the skills to be able to take over these businesses? There's also that gap, capital requirement to be able to basically engage in the business and manage it effectively. So we have that problem, and that is the kind of problem that we are trying to address now as we basically focus on the economic transformation agenda of our own country through the National Development Framework.
Well, that's splendid. It's really awesome to know. And I want to believe that policymakers across border countries are listening in and learning, as well as upcoming policymakers. And of course, entrepreneurs, those who are enthusiasts when it comes to entrepreneurship. I believe they have taken one or two lessons on how we can bridge this gap. Now, this brings me to the aspect of innovations in trade finance. Since you are the deputy minister in charge of the Ministry of Trade and Commerce in the country, please, sir, can you also shed more light for us on what innovative solutions are there that can help African businesses to access global markets? Because we know that trade finance is the lifeblood of commerce.
Well, let me say thank you very much. One of the challenges that most businesses tend to cry about is the issue of access to finance. Many businesses will tell you the banks are not giving us the funds that we need and in order to be able to undertake businesses. But then equally so, you have to balance it. The banks are also saying that there is a huge level of not performing loans, which means people are equally not paying their loans. So how do you balance that? Now, so one of the ways that we have tried to deal with this problem as a country, and the Central Bank of Liberia is leading this charge, and then we are equally working with the Central Bank of Liberia. The Central Bank of Liberia is now in the process of introducing what we call a credit registry. It's one of the innovative means by which we want to be able to address a problem that the financial sector has identified as a challenge. That is, um, a lender, someone who wants to borrow a fund from Bank A. He goes to Bank A, he takes a loan to invest in a particular business. And then when the business does not go very well, this person goes to Bank B and equally tries to take a loan. And because there is no credit record to be able to trace, that person benefits from taking the loan from credit from Bank B. So now you have a situation of you've not been able, this person has not been able to pay Bank A, has gone to Bank B to take a loan. So the central bank of Liberia, in order to be able to close that challenge, is now trying to introduce a credit registry wherein there is a clear identification process where if you cannot take a loan from Bank A and go to Bank B and be able to do the same thing, that reference is what we are trying to close. So someone isn't able to basically just what we call, for lack of a better word, I would call a double dipping process in the credit system. And equally so, we have also been able to, there are very fair entrepreneurs who go to Bank A and are able to take a loan from Bank A and pay back to the bank. So what do we do to be able to basically ensure that this particular entrepreneur is protected and given an opportunity to continue to get the kind of access to finance that he or she needs in order to be able to invest in the economy? And then you have the whole situation of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. The risks associated with taking the loan, the banks, most of the financial institutions will say the risks are too high. The likelihood of these institutions not paying back is too high. So what we have done as a government, with the support of the World Bank, is to introduce a credit facility. A credit facility at a minimum rate where these micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises can have access to finance. So we've been able to disburse funding through such a scheme. But one of the things that we noticed with such a facility is that it was basically just being done in areas related to trade services. And that's what the banks were willing to give the money in. But what about long-term intervention like the agriculture sector, agro-processing? So we had to be deliberate to tell the financial institutions that let's also be innovative and also give long-term loans to those who are actively engaged in the agriculture sector and the agro-processing sector. Because we were looking at the ultimate outcome, job creation. The agriculture sector and the agro-processing sector, I mean, when you come to look at the area of job creation, it's more productive in that area compared to vis-a-vis trade services, where somebody goes to buy the goods, come and just sell. And the banks were somehow flexible enough to start giving loans in that regard in the agriculture sector and spreading the payment period over at least 3 years period. So that's one of the ways that we have been able to get around that. It's not a perfect situation because you still have more entrepreneurs, more enterprises wanting loans, but not having the ability to be able to get those loans because of the funding side. The funds are not so adequate. But we have another project that is under the armpit of the African Development Bank. The African Development Bank has come in and they've sort of working with the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, introduced what we call a Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Bank project. That project will basically target women and youth engaged in businesses, especially cross-border trade and other businesses, to be able to have easy access to finance at a concessional level. So I think those are some of the innovative interventions that we are undertaking to be able to enhance the area of access to finance. Not a perfect fit, but I think it's something in the right direction.
I agree. I agree with you, sir. That's a good step in the right direction. And talking about product, that brings to a particular initiative. I believe was launched. If I got my
Uh,
that's
okay. I'm not getting you very well. Can you speak into the mic, please?
okay. Can you hear me clearly right now, sir?
Yeah, very well now.
I was talking about because border trade. I think from that aspect, could that also be part of the reason why AfCFTA launched? Talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area that was launched in 2025. If I have my facts right, in Liberia. Okay. And I believe one of the main reasons why this initiative was being put forward is to help with cross-border trade and also to overcome some of the challenges. So, talking about the hurdles and opportunities that cross-border trading can bring for Liberia, by extension, that what are the top challenges? What are the top challenges and how can AfCFTA help it?
Well, let me say thank you again.
Yes.
The
So now
African
let's
Continental Free Trade Area, when it was launched by the African leaders, they had a very common goal in mind, was to basically industrialize the continent through trade. And if you just look around the world, even in North America, then South America, then even the Middle East and what have you, trade is playing a very significant role. Even in Europe, for that matter, trade is playing a significant role in the industrialization setting of those different parts of the world. And the African leaders had a vision. They wanted to create this common market, a single market, where African nations will be able to basically trade amongst themselves and enhance and break the barriers when it comes to these man-made borders that we have created within our settings. So the plan was to basically break those barriers through trade engagements. And so what like Liberia, and I gave a case in point about Liberia. We ratified, of course, we were a signatory to the African Continental Free Trade Area. We were a signatory in 2018. But after 2018, we did not ratify the agreement until 2023, July. And after the ratification, we did not even deposit the instrument of ratification until 2024. And then in 2025, with the support of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, we were able to basically come up with an implementation strategy for Liberia. And we concluded the strategy and launched the strategy in August of 2025. Now, the whole intent was, how do we address the issues of cross-border trade? Because many of our young people and women are critically engaged in this sector. Even we're beginning to see very big companies are now applying. You know how ECOWAS has worked. ECOWAS would like to work as a bloc, as a trading bloc, and going into the African Continental Free Trade Area as a trading bloc. So what we have done, we have also subscribed to the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, where we have about 25 companies from Liberia that have registered under the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme. And then we have 10 of those companies that are now actively engaging in the exporting products into other West African states. But the plan is actually to go beyond West Africa and start tapping into the South African market, start tapping into the North African market, and then even start tapping into the South African and other East African market. That is the plan we have now. So what we have done as the government of Liberia, we have a national development framework that is clearly defined, that has clearly defined as its first pillar, economic transformation. And the economic transformation agenda, as you may be quite aware, that no nation can actually move forward unless the private sector has been actively developed and engaged in growing the economy of the country. So part of our economic transformation agenda has been to focus on the private sector, the growth and development of the private sector, but specifically the growth and development of the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises ecosystem. Because for us in Liberia, the SMEs are basically the foundation of our economy. For our economy, the functioning of our economy is based on what? The strengths of the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. So we have different programs that we have put in place to be able to build the productive capacity of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to actively engage in the African Continental Free Trade Area through the ECOWAS trading blocks, the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme. So we have different programs that we've introduced, and one of them is under what we call the Liberia Investment, Finance, and Trade Project. Under that project, there's a specific angle of that project that is basically supporting the growth and development of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. We also have another project that we call the Livelihood and Employment Project that is being supported by the United Nations Development Program. Is a project that is also intended where we have a portion of that project that we call the Growth Accelerator, basically targeting small and medium-sized enterprises and building the productive capacity to be able to actively engage in the SMEs ecosystem of this country. And of course, like I told you earlier, we have the Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Bank project that is being supported by the African Development Bank. So Now, all these projects are basically intended to grow the private sector through the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises ecosystem. You understand? And by so doing, our first goal is to focus on export development. But then export development requires for you to be able to enhance the quality of your products. So we have our Liberia standard authorities also being able to ensure, and as we stand, we got the Liberia Standard Authority guide is certification update from the Nigeria Standard Authority. So they've been able to have that ability to be able to certify Liberian businesses on the ground to be able to basically export commodities into the African continental or utilize the African continental free trade area. Yeah.
Say that AfCFTA indeed is a game changer. It really is a game changer. Hold on, please, sir. I think we have a question. We have a question from one of our viewers. Let me highlight the questions. Okay, let me bring the questions down. Screen so we see it. All right. So this viewer is asking, what skills and mentorship do young entrepreneurs need? I can't really get it
Well,
properly, but
I think that's a valid question. The kind of skills and mentorship that young entrepreneurs need, because they need it. If you are talking about actively participating in the African continental free trade area, you need that entrepreneurship mindset coming from young people to actively engage. So when it comes to business management, financial management, when it comes to the whole issue of how to basically even develop a business plan. So right now, as I speak to you, we do have a company from Ghana that they call Breach Waters, basically in Liberia, and providing a 3-year mentorship, coaching, training for over 265 micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. Because that is the aspect of the hand holding. It is not enough to provide just a one-off training to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises and you leave them. No, it's not enough. So what is required is that mentorship and the coaching along the way. So they have an opportunity to be mentored, to be coached for a period of 3 years, wherein they will know how to first develop bankable projects, and then how to manage these projects, and basically be able to understand the whole issue of financial management about the projects that they are working with. And I think that kind of skills where you give to young people, young entrepreneurs, it becomes an added dividend where they are actively able to independently manage the businesses and even thrive in their businesses. Because one of the things that we have not been able to do very well is to start creating young millionaires in the SMEs ecosystem. And that is so critical. You want to be able to see that you supported this SMEs and this SME has been able to graduate from that beginning stage is now thriving to a point where they can independently be able to say, at least we are now able to match our skills with bigger businesses. That's what we want to see. We want to see in the SMEs that will create jobs, that will be part of actively engaged in the economy of the nation and influencing the policy direction of the country in terms of the economy. That's what we want to see. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I think there seems to be another question. If I got that right, there seems to be another question. Okay. Okay, it's not coming up. No problem. Until it comes up clearly, we can continue. All right. So from all I've seen so far, from what you've been telling us so far, indeed, the FCTA, in particular, sorry, the AfCFTA, have really been a game changer for your economic development in Liberia. No doubt. Initially, I wanted to find out the sectors that will benefit the most, but it is really clear that it's going to be more of the SMEs or the MSMEs,
Yes.
private sectors, which is actually
Yes.
the, the right thing to do. Privatization is what is really going to make it in any nation's economy. So we have to keep encouraging it. Maybe we need more grants, maybe streams of grants in Africa. We have quite a few number of um, grantors, so organizations who offer grants because we are
Yeah.
much in Africa, and I don't know the
Yeah.
government alone can handle all
Yeah.
our entrepreneurial needs. And every entrepreneur needs money. Even the very wealthy entrepreneurs will know. They still go to the bank to get money. How much
Yeah.
more the upcoming uh, businessmen and women? We all okay. I think the question has shown finally the question from one of our viewers. Let me highlight it. Okay, so everyone can see. Okay, has it displayed?
Yes. They say, how can, of course, African entrepreneurs scale globally? Globally.
Exactly. Yes, that's the question.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think,
I as a I was actually
mhm.
coming to that because it's not all about
Okay.
training or raising
Yeah.
private
Yeah.
owners or businesses,
Yeah.
but at least how can we make it out there in the world? Export, import.
The whole issue of access to market, that's one of the problems because it's not just enough. You've been trained, you've been mentored, you've been coached how to do the business. Now you have the skills to do the business. What next? The issue of access to market becomes very relevant. And this is where we come in, um, linking these entrepreneurs to the market of over 370 million people in West Africa alone. That's the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme. Because one of the things that we are doing is that we have come to notice that many people do not even know how to engage, how to trade outside of their own countries. That's what we've noticed. That many of the young entrepreneurs in different countries don't even know how to trade in different countries, like in Liberia. I've been to meetings where a lot of young people are asking questions, but how do I get my products into Nigeria, into Ghana, into Sierra Leone, into Guinea, into South Africa, into all these different markets? And this is where the we also come in as a government, making sure that the Liberia Standards Authority plays a critical role because, mind you, before goods get into the markets of other economies, they have to be properly certified and qualified. Quality assurance, very important, because if I'm to export a product to Nigeria, for example, I have to be able to meet the minimum requirements of the quality standards of the product. It has to meet international standards. And then that's where the standard authority comes in and then certified. So that certification enables them to be able to now access other markets. But then, let's say, for example, we have a regional, a global trade preference with maybe the European market, anything but arms. So we have businesses that want to trade into the European market some products. How do they do that? In order to be able to trade into the European market, there are basic standards that have to be met. And those basic standards will have to be basically probably qualified by the Liberia Standard Authority. So for African entrepreneurs to scale globally, first thing, they must have their products meeting the international standards that are required to be able to hit those international markets. And once you have the quality standards that are required to be able to, you can trade in any market. So the standard authorities in different countries must be up to date, must be up to standard to be able to what? To qualify the products of those commodities that are being produced by the businesses in those countries, and then you be able to basically trade on the international market. So meeting standards is very important. And I think that like the different standards authorities in different countries have a role to play. And then of course the businesses themselves, they have a role to play, because once those standards are set, they should thrive to be able to meet the quality standards that allow them to be able to scale globally and sell into other markets. Otherwise, it becomes a challenge. You only produce for the domestic market and then unable to be able to basically sell into international markets. And I think the one of the reasons why the African Continental Free Trade Area was basically set up is to actually scale continentally and then globally, for you to basically industrialize through export development. And for you to be able to export into other countries, it means that you have to meet the basic requirements that are required for you to export into those countries. Yeah.
Oh, it's like more questions keeps coming, and we, and so this is what we experience a lot of the time, and we always promise our viewers that we're going to give them just 1 hour. So, okay, okay. I think what we're saying here. Oh, okay. Someone is applauding. Someone is applauding the wonderful response we have and giving to ourselves. We appreciate. Okay. So we've had so much value under 1 hour. And if you recall, like from the very start, that we are in for something, a game-changing conversation, because everyone is interested in the entrepreneurship ecosystem wherever they find themselves in Africa. Why you must embrace entrepreneurship, and that's why we have our wonderful honorable guests right here on the show tonight. So, indeed, we've had a swell time with you, sir. We really thank you so much today. We appreciate you. We really have love to say, or maybe get to learn more from you because we know you have a deep well of wisdom when it comes to trade, finances, and cross-border trading and all that to share with us. But we will have to like cross for now. A melody's fitness cannot prevent its end. Like, all right. So if you would like to learn more from Minister Reeves, he's on LinkedIn. Okay, his insights on this topic about cross-border trade in Africa, at least for us, using this country as um, a yardstick, is something that we should go back home and sit down, think very well. I believe every country have one banking institution or the other the government is using to disburse funds. So if you are very sure you want to go into entrepreneurship, don't just fold your hands, seek for help and make sure you use the money judiciously to improve the economy of your country. So your insights have been incredibly powerful and timely tonight, Minister Reeves. We thank you so much. To our global audience watching right now on LinkedIn, this is what we do, of course, all the time at Executive Media Africa, and we always bridge the gap between high level leadership and community impact. So it has been an honor to have Minister Reeves with us tonight. And we'll always keep nurturing the next African entrepreneurs as well as the youth champions of development, policymakers, the farmers, and what have you. So everyone tuning in, please feel free to drop a thank you in the comments for Minister, and feel free as well to approach him if you have something reasonable to ask. You have questions that's going to add value to your life, and we don't have much time to entertain you, please feel free to ask. And don't forget to follow this page for more executive conversations like this that are meant to shape the future of our beloved continent, Africa. And of course, by extension, the black community. Because wherever the blacks are, that is the seed of Africa, or the Africans that was dispersed at a point in time. All right. So I remain patient, your host. You'll meet the co-host the next time. Due to some circumstances beyond our control, she couldn't join us tonight. So you definitely will see her next time. And she sends a warm regards to everyone. We remain committed to nurturing as much as possible the next generation of African excellence. So we thank Minister Reeves for being here with us, and we hope to see him sometime in the future because we're not done learning from him. Thank you once again, Minister Reeves. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you for the opportunity.
all right,
Yeah.
sir. So this is
Um,
the curtain to close tonight, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Same time, oh, not same time next week, but we had to like really intend to ensure that Africa learns something before this week comes out. So by next week, we're going to communicate to you when you will learn from us. It's the Women's Month, knocking month of March. I mean, you know how we do it here. A lot of women around the black community in Africa, they're poised to tell us how they are ready to be again. So please watch out. Watch out for this space. All right. So for now,
Thank
it's
you.
going to be goodbye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.